Okay, guys, we're here at week 2. Isn't this wonderful? It's really great. So were there any questions from last week? I'm going to do a quick review for everyone. And maybe I should do that to see if you guys had any questions about last week. Hold on just a second. I'm going to share my screen. My computer will allow me to.
Come on in.
All right. Okay. So really quickly, last week we kind of went through an overview of the 6-week course, and then last week we really talked about, what is our purpose for becoming a medium, and really giving that some thought, whether it's to just use it for ourselves, use it to develop discernment and our intuitive process, in our daily life, really navigating the spiritual with this physical world, understanding that whatever our purpose is for going, just really know that, because sometimes it gets really tough. And so we have to remember why we've chosen to do this work, and it really is helpful. And, even as long as I've been doing mediumship, I've had my challenges this week that I'm going to share with the class, and kind of explain and so forth, because it does do an ebb and flow. And, a lot of times we can feel like it goes away for a while, but then it comes back, and so that's very normal. And so if we really understand our purpose on why we're doing this, it's very helpful to know that, so we can really draw upon that. And then we went through some of the foundation of, what is actually mediumship, and that, it's really to show the evidence that there is life after death, and that meditation is the key to, then we went through the foundational elements, which is really meditation and building that vibration and that frequency so we can connect with spirit. And the more that we meditate, the more our connection becomes stronger and stronger with that. And then starting to talk about, how to work with our spirit team, and then, our self-development as well, and how important that is, as we develop ourselves and we let go of things that no longer serve us, or old traumas or habits and so forth. We make room for more of our gifts. And really, we do mediumship from the heart, and it's based on love. And we do it from the essence of our spirit. So it's really important to park our ego. It's our ego is needed in this world, but it's not needed in the spirit world, and really park that. And a lot of times we can get really good at mediumship, and then there are a lot of egos in mediumship, and we really have to be careful about that. One of the things that keeps me humbled every single day is, I was a martial artist, and I remember my first day as being a white belt, and I'll never forget it. And, we have to come at this by really being humbled and honored that we are doing spirit work, and we're serving spirit and humanity. And then, evidence is really the communication with spirit, with a spirit communicator. Why it's important is because it does demonstrate life after death. It provides healing, upliftment, guidance, and reassurance, not only to the spirit communicator, but the sitter as well. And it can make us aware of our true spiritual nature, and that, the spiritual process and mediumship is based on love. And so, here was some of the terminology that we went through, the sitter, the recipient, the spirit communicator, the psychic medium, evidence. And then our guide team, which is the gatekeeper. We have a runner that goes and gets the loved one. We went through some of these terminology. And then we also talked about the model of mediumship, looking at the psychic link versus the mediumship link and how the two are different. And then, the pathway to mediumship, we usually start out where we're empathic and we're feeling all this energy and feelings and so forth that might not be ours. And then we learn to start to learn to manage the flow of energy. And then we start to develop our intuition. And then we go into being psychic, where we're really reading the person and the vibration and the energy around that person. And then mediumship is really connecting with spirit. And so through this process, we really have to learn the flow of energy. And so we did do an exercise last week on the flow of energy, where we actually played with energy a little bit, where we were going up and down and all, around us, as well as in a circle. And we actually brought all of us together, and I could definitely feel the energy. That was just amazing. But the key is really utilizing our body as a barometer, really noticing the subtleties of what happens, the different temperatures in the room. All of a sudden we might feel a little tap on our finger, and it's so subtle, but it's something that is really important. That might be an important piece of evidence that we're giving. So that's why it's important to really be sensitive to our bodies and what is happening while we're giving a reading, because we might miss some of the subtleties that are coming through from spirit. And really, we're just, we're our soul, our spirit is in the body, and then it connects to spirit. And so we do that through the heart, is where we do this, and it's behind the heartbeat and the essence of our spirit. We talked about energy, frequency, vibration, and how to raise it, and how we raise it is through meditation. And as we learn, and spirit provides the unfolding, and that as we and the key is to become a vibrational match with spirit. So this really demonstrates, as far as mediums, the different as we develop, when we expand and increase our vibration, when we increase our vibration in meditation, we're able to connect with a lot more people. So a lot of times when we're first starting out, we can connect with a strong spirit, but we might not be able to get something where it's a very subtlety of a spirit coming through. And so we have to raise our vibration a little bit, or maybe that spirit's personality was very quiet. And so we might have to take that into consideration when we're giving that message as well. And so as we raise our vibration, we go up to connecting with the different from spirits, departed loved ones, the nature, and then ascended masters, and then also our team, our guide team, or somebody else's guide as well. So that's a higher level of vibration. We talked about the toroidal field and how it is in motion around the body, and how it goes through the heart. And then we talked about using left brain and right brain. It's kind of a model where, left brain is really logical thought, and right brain is where all the creativity happens, but it's also where spirit speaks to us as well. That's where we get, we can get images and so forth from spirit, or feelings, or knowings. And our logical brain will try to come in and try to make sense of it, but it's not really, the message isn't for us. And so we just have to give it and give confidence of giving the information. That's really, really important. And so the left brain can come in with logical thoughts, or, part of the ego is being unworthy, or having anxiety, or self-worth, or self-limiting beliefs. And really, we are all spirit, and spirit loves us so much for just being who we are. So, and then we talked about, all the different things that can actually cover the essence of our spirit by being, our parents' imprint, like traumas, socializations, our morals, ethics, and values, and our identity, school, all of this can like then buffer the essence of who we are, which is in the middle here. So that's kind of, then we talked about a little bit about how spirit brings information in through messages, symbols, and so forth, which we're going to get more into. As the medium, we have to actually take that information and decode it. So our spirit guide team is very important into this process. And then from there, we deliver the evidence and we deliver the message. And interpretation of all of this is key. We might not hit it right on the mark, but that's okay because we can deliver it again. And when we deliver it again, we don't want to lose our connection with spirit by getting to know. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we get further in the course. And then this is our guide team right here. We have a projector guide that has been assigned to us for all of our days. We have a healer and a teacher, and then we have specialty guides that come in. And then the overarching of all of this is the ascended and universal masters that can come in and out. But this is the team that you want to really have a relationship with and build a relationship with in time. They're going to be the ones that are going to understand how you work. And they will also protect you with your boundaries and so forth. We talked about boundaries that are really important. And going through that, and then some aspects of spiritual work that's really important, the daily meditation and prayer, and so forth. And then and that was kind of the beginning of class. So just to kind of refresh your memory on that. Did anybody have any questions with regard to that? Yeah, Joe. Yeah.
Yes. Good morning, everybody. So my question is about empathy and sympathy. So I've been getting, I guess my whole life, I've always been feeling for other people and even getting what they have. So the latest thing that's happened, I spent 2 weeks with somebody, with a group of people, but this one person had this really bad left shoulder. And now my left shoulder is all bummed out. So somebody says, oh, it's just sympathy pain. So is there a difference between sympathy pains and empathy? And then the last question is, I know about clearing and things that I could do now to prevent things from remaining with me, but what do you do with something that you've taken on and still have? That's my question.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you do have to release it, right? I mean, that is the key. Well, sympathy pain, that's really interesting because, I've even known men to have, when have sympathy contractions and stuff, and your body takes that on, right? And empathy is, really to define it, and I could be wrong on this, and I would actually welcome anybody to comment on this. When you're talking about sympathy pain, yeah, you can take it on and it goes right into your body. And so the key is to release it. You have to ground and clear. So you're going to have to go out and just release it into the earth. What I do and what Bonnie taught me, thank you, Bonnie, for joining, is that, really just taking it and taking whatever's in that shoulder, and I go out in mother nature and I take my shoes off and I imagine Mother Earth opening this huge like hole or portal, and I just say, and then or you can release it through your feet, whatever, and put it into Mother Earth for healing and just allow it to go, and then call back your energy. So when you connect, okay, there's also a part of your energy that, it took to connect with that person, right? And so you want to remove yourself from that and call back your energy, because that does not belong to you. That belongs to someone else. Yeah. And it's not that you want to give it back. What you want to do is really send it to Mother Earth for healing. And just release it and then call back your energy. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bonnie, do you have any other comments on that? Because you're a whiz at this stuff.
No, I think you got it covered. she's a master at that.
Yeah. And I had to learn it through pain, Joe.
Yeah.
a significant pain where I'm in San Diego and I'm calling Bonnie in Michigan going, what do I
Yeah.
do? You know?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. My sister gets these migraines all the time, and whenever we talk, then when we're done, I have this migraine. That one
Okay.
I'm able to shake that one off. But it's just this other people, I guess I'm just a little bit more in. So thank you. I
Well,
appreciate
yeah,
that.
and you're invested, right? And you care, and that's a wonderful thing, but it's also you have to, it comes down to self-care and we have to release it. And
Yeah.
so that's what I do. And I don't send it back to them. I send it to healing. Like there was this one where I was in San Diego and I was calling Bonnie. I was in a conference room for work, and this woman came up behind me. It was actually my manager, and I didn't hear a word she said. All I felt was, oh my God, I'm going to get fired. Oh my God, I'm losing my job. I'm so insecure at what I'm doing, and I'm just hearing all this stuff. And all of a sudden I took it on. And I'm like, I had to and then I felt all this anger on top of it. And it's like, what do I do with this? And I excused myself from the room and I called Bonnie and I'm like, Bonnie, I told her, I'm feeling this way, this way, this way, this way. And she said, that doesn't belong to you. But I don't want to send it back to her. What I want to do is I want to send it to source for healing, either up or down, the same. So above, so below. And it was easy for me to see Mother Earth and just dump it in that hole for healing and call back my energy to my wholeness. So I hope that helps.
Very much. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Christy, you had a question.
Yeah, I actually have two. I'll try to make
Okay.
it quick.
Yeah,
The
no,
first
you're good.
one, the first one is when I meditate, I have like a floor cushion I've been meditating on, seated, and I'm sure that's fine. It's probably all really just intention and what you put into it anyways, but I hear a lot of talk of drawing energy up to the feet during meditation. And I don't really know, is there a better way with that?
Okay, yeah. So one of the reasons that you want to draw, and so actually what you're doing through your feet is you're actually planting yourself to the earth because you belong to the earth. Okay. And so you want to make sure that you're fully into the body, and you're actually sending, like Bonnie talks about sending like a cord down to the core of Mother Earth because you belong here. Okay. But then, yes, you're bringing light up through your feet, all the way through your body. And then you're taking it up and then connecting with source. And you can do it very slowly, because what you want to do is, kind of what I do is I imagine white light coming up through my body. And if there's a place like where there is tension or tightness, I will focus that on that part of the body. But then what I do is I connect and then I drop it into my heart. And so, and then and that's what I do. And then I send it out into the room to invite spirit in. So that's my process.
So it's probably better, because I hear a lot of that, and I've been thinking maybe I do need a chair instead. I mean, I think it'd be better on my body anyways. I think I'd be able to go deeper.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah, you
okay.
want to be comfortable. That's the key. Like if you're sitting there on the floor and you're not comfortable and you're thinking about all that, then maybe that's not the best place. But,
True.
I think from a yoga perspective, there is a lot of earthly connections, and the connection with the Mother Earth and the spirit. And, everything has a spirit, right? The trees, the grass, all of this has its own spirit. Which is wonderful. And then, it's about connection to self too, but we're going up and we're connecting and blending with spirit. We're becoming spirit, and we're practicing becoming spirit. So we're blending so we can get the information from spirit.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah, it does. And then second part, I'm going to try to keep it again quick so Karen Michelle can ask her question. Hi. But the other thing was in connecting with my guides. I definitely trust 100% that they're there, and I know that. And it's been several months ago that I thought I got a name, but I never got really any specific sign around it. And again, I know that they don't in that realm technically use names. It's more of a way for us just to connect with them. So I didn't know, like, if that's something that I even need to concern myself with, if that's just something that will come with time, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that way. I feel
Okay.
that, you know, do you need a story behind it?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I mean, do you need to know everything? You know, if you feel them and you feel the love from them, and you know, I've asked them to show themselves and what they did and what
Mhm.
you know, and you know, when I think back, is that really important? You know, was it important for me? The key is understanding the love that and that they have for me and building that trust with them.
Okay.
You know, and I feel like you can name them whatever you want.
Doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes we get names, right? And that's a wonderful blessing.
Yeah.
You know, I've heard things, but I wondered, the people that I've heard, I felt like that they were more specialty guides that came in and not my true guides, because they're people that they're spirit guides that are no longer around, but my other ones I can feel wholeheartedly. You
Okay.
know?
Okay. Yeah, then I won't assign too much importance to that then.
Right.
I think the trust is the most important part.
Yeah, the trust and the love and the
Yeah.
knowing that they're there. And, you know, I send them love and gratitude all the time. And it's not just by saying thank you. I mean, I really express gratitude coming out from the heart. And when I do that, a lot of times I can feel the gratitude coming back. And
Mm,
they're learning from us too, you see. We're the ones that are out here living the life, right? You know, and they're taking it all in too, right? So,
sure,
you know,
sure.
and it's kind of a cool arrangement. And you know, I really believe that you can build that out however you feel comfortable. I did have a specialty guide come in, or there's this guide that would come in anytime I prayed for healing. There was like this Indian chief that would come in and I would see his face. And
Mm,
every time, like I pray and he showed up, I knew something miraculous was going to happen. So that's kind of cool, you know. So he must be like a healing guide of some sort, because I mean, when he comes in, I'm telling you what, my son was supposed to be in surgery for an hour and they came back out 20 minutes later. I thought, oh my God, what's going on? And then they told me about this perfect story that happened. And
ah,
oh God, I was just so grateful, you know. And I saw him the night before, but I didn't put two and two together until I had a couple of incidences where all of a sudden these miraculous things happened, you know.
mm,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Thanks for asking that. And guys, if you guys have something else to say, please. I mean, you know, like Silka, I mean, you've been to Arthur Finley, you know, they've taught you things. Please share that knowledge. If you have a knowledge about something, this is not just the Rachelle way.
Well, actually, my mentor or my teacher is from the Arthur Finley College.
Okay.
And I've met him right around the time when I had planned on traveling overseas. I have family in the UK to go to the Arthur Finley College, but then COVID hit. So everything shut down.
Yeah.
So I got introduced to Andy Bing online and I've been with him ever since.
Wonderful. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's wonderful. Yeah. And you guys remember, always seek out multiple teachers. There's
Mhm.
you know, when people say, oh, you know, you just do it my way or the highway. I don't believe that at all. You know, I have had so many people come into my life that have taught me things, and I'm so grateful. And I take what they've taught me and did my best to share it. You know, like Bonnie, she's an amazing person when it comes to the flow of energy. She freaking rocks it. And she, you know, I had mediumship, but I didn't have the flow of energy. And when I figured that out and she showed that to me, wow, totally amazing. So I just want to really, you know, let you know that there are amazing teachers out there. And Bonnie's a medium, but she doesn't acknowledge it. She wants to really be more of a healer, but she gets information all the time. So it's really great. And she makes it fun, you know, like with Arthur Finley, and you know, you have this discipline, right? But she makes it where you can play with energy and kind of explore it and have fun, you know? So why not, you know? Why not? Why not have a little bit of fun with it, you know? So anyway, Bonnie, you have any comments about that? I don't.
I just wanted to thank you for all the comments you were making. That's really kind of you. But yeah, I think once you've learned how you connect to the elements, how you connect to the earth, and how your body actually works, and how you can create this magic with your own energy and earth magic and all that. Once you do that, in the spirit realm, all that all comes together. It just all comes together. It just falls into place. And so you really don't, it's kind of like taking little steps. And every time you add another step, it just comes in clearer. So so learning your personal energy and everything around you is just the most important thing to do, to raise your power, to raise your energy.
Yeah,
Everything.
definitely. Totally agree. And I'm so grateful that Bonnie was on call for me. So thank you.
I didn't mind.
Okay, thanks. Karen Michelle, you had your hand up.
Hi, good morning, or
Good
I
morning.
know it's
Yeah.
not morning for everyone. Um, I now I have a couple things. One of them is I didn't think about this before. I mean, I thought about it, but not in reference to bringing it here. But when I was caregiving for my mom in the last months, something happened, and I got a call. I woke up in the morning and I had almost a black eye. It was all bloodshot. And then I got a call that she had a mark on her eye. And it was when I went to go get her, it was the same thing. And since she's passed away, I keep getting it. And over the last 8 months, I have not gotten it. And the only thing I've done differently is I actually gave it up to the legal system.
There you go.
I didn't know what else to do, and I've been very suspicious about several things. But I'm thinking back now on different times where she had something and I had the same thing, and she had dementia. So I'm wondering if that was our way of communicating. But often I would come in and we'd have conversations. I would have conversations with different people that I would later get told had dementia, but I don't know if it was because I was calm or if there's something else I'm hearing. I don't know. This is my first at this being here with all of you is my first at an actual a formal training, I guess. So this is new to me in this sense. But what I miss is after one of my NDEs, there was a woman who was, she barely fit in my room. She was so tall. And I would see her standing, I have a very large harp in the other room, and she would be right next to it in the corner. She was so beautiful. I don't mean beautiful, glamorous, but just emanating this just amazing. She must have been 12 feet, maybe taller. I mean, barely fit in the room. And she was there every night during all of my injuries, during all of the healing. And she would look, and it was so comforting, so comforting. And there was another spirit in the room, and I don't know what their purpose was, but when I was just at my height of pain, I would ask, could you please be next to me? And they would be right next to me. And again, it was very comforting. And so I was curious more about specialty guides when you're talking about specialty guides.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, so, okay, that's a lot to unpack. Okay, so, I wrote it down so we can
Okay.
kind of go in order.
I'm questioning myself on a lot
Yeah,
of.
yeah, no, this is good. So, no, and it's okay. So the bloodshot eye, we can be really connected to people to where we physically manifest things, right? I mean, we really can. And, like you said, you gave it up. I think that that was perfect. Energetically, you gave it up. You give it up for healing. You give it up for healing, and send it to the where, back, to Mother Earth, or you said you gave it up to the legal system or whatever. And I think that that was perfect that you did that. And as far as, your mother and how close you guys were, okay, so this is a Rochelleism. I haven't heard this, nor do I have any evidence. Okay, but this is what I know from my experience with working with dementia patients. I've actually had where I thought somebody was coming in and I thought they were in spirit, and they were actually a person in a home, in assisted living, and they had dementia. And I described them perfectly. Well, this is the thing. I don't believe that the memories are stored in the brain. I think that they're stored in the ether. And the reason I think that they're stored in the ether is because when your body dies, right, I mean, it falls off, right, the brain is no longer functioning, but the memories of the people in spirit are coming through. And so with the dementia, I believe that you can connect with that person and even communicate with them because the thoughts and the memories are stored in the ether, and that's why you can communicate with them. Okay. And I don't know if that's what you were getting at, but you had that communication with your mother on a different level, right? Is that what you were saying?
I did, and after she passed away, when I started teaching with the residents, we were bringing our harps, and one of them we had to go into a dementia unit, and I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be a trigger for me because I haven't been around anyone with dementia since. And so we're going in with these little therapy harps, and I'm hearing people in there talk to me, as in they're reaching and which I'm fine. I'm fine if they touch my hand or they're wanting to pull me in. But when they pull me in, where other people are saying they're it's okay. They don't know how to talk anymore. But I'm hearing them say, can you sit with me?
Yeah,
I'm hearing a
they can.
story.
It's just the brain is not accessing it, it's there. It's all there. Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
So you're right. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. They are
I
talking.
felt a little nutty. Okay.
No, no, what you were was being a medium. So no, that's really great. And you were hearing them. How wonderful is that? You were hearing dementia patients that needed to be heard. How cool is that? No, it's not nutty. I don't know if anybody has any comments with their experience with something like that, but that's been my experience. And that's why I call it a Rochelleism, because I don't believe that memories are stored in the brain. The brain accesses everything.
When I had the near-death experience, I was outside. I looked at my body. I didn't know it was my body, by the way. I was kind of offended that there was a body there. I was I was insulted that it was there. And I kind of walked out. I saw my family in the lobby, and I walked out. I felt love for them. It wasn't that, but I went off. I went somewhere else, and I had my memories with me. I did have my memories with me.
Yeah. You
So
see.
I didn't leave anything of me behind except this shell that I didn't recognize as me.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. That's interesting. Yeah. But see, that's what I mean. I believe, and I have no way to prove it other than remember one thing I always want to remind everybody, your experience is your evidence, is your proof. Okay. So that's why I said what I did with regard to that. So, but don't ever think you're nutty. I had a woman that came to me and she said she was diagnosed as schizophrenic. And because she was hearing voices. And of course, I'm not a trained psychologist or anything, but I know spirit. And I said, what are those voices saying to you? And she started telling me what the voices were saying to me. I said, honey, that's spirit. And I said, I'm not a doctor, nor would I, but I said, that's spirit. You're clear hearing. She got off her medication. I said, that's a decision that you have to make between you and your doctor, but I'm telling you, that's the voice of spirit. She got off of her medication. Her daughter and her both came to me and said, Rachelle, you have transformed my mother. I am so grateful. She's back to herself. Because spirit always talks in what? Guidance, upliftment, healing, and reassurance. I don't know what they're hearing from a schizophrenic perspective, but I said, have they talked to you about committing suicide, or have they talked to you about any of this? And it's like, no, it's all, I said, it's a voice of spirit. And she got off her medication. Her life was totally transformed, and she was so grateful. But I didn't tell her to do that. I just was able to discern what that was, because I don't have that training, but it transformed her life. Okay. Any other questions, you guys? Okay. Go ahead, Karen Michelle. Yeah.
Could you talk a little bit about specialty guides?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. Specialty guides will come in and out in a different times of your life where you're going through a particular life experience where it's their specialty. Okay. So like, let's say there's something financial that you're dealing with and it's like, or a legal thing, you might have a specialty guide come in. Or if it's a medical thing, they'll come in and work on you and go out. And that's what they do. And I've seen them come in from a medical perspective where they came in. I had never seen this guy before. He was carrying a thing like a doctor's bag or whatever. He came in, he did the work, and he left. And it was like no emotions. He was there to do this task, and everybody, and my other guides were surrounding him, supporting him and so forth. But they come in and they do the work and then they leave. And so they're around you until you totally work through this area in which they're helping you with. So like, for example, you might have had a specialty guide when the heart came through. And you might have had a specialty guide that came through to help you with that, to attune you, to do all these things, to work with you until you got that going, you see? We all might have a specialty guide that's a medium that are helping us open up our gifts, something like that. So they come in to help as we are working through certain things. And we have that team, that spirit team, that is so important to all of us. Does that kind of explain it? Yeah. Does anybody have any comments about that? Silka or Bonnie or Robin or anyone?
Yeah, I might as well say a few things. I don't want to be so mute. I'm usually really fairly reserved and quiet, and it's because of what I do for a living. I'm in the healing business, so I'm always more subdued. But actually, my guides gave me that information quite some time back in I wanted names for them, but they made it really clear to me that's not important.
Yeah.
As long as you understand our essence, that is what we're looking at, or that's what you need to maybe focus on. But over time, I got some names with my guides, and you know, I went through a little bit of, I would say, an awakening again, and also some changes I needed to make within me because I work on myself, on my soul frequency. I want to get to know Silke better. This is what mediumship for me is also about. But I went through a situation, and I really honestly don't know a lot about Gordon Higgins, right?
Oh, yeah. Sure.
But when I sat in meditation, Gordon Higgins kept coming. And I'm getting goosebumps right now. And
Oh,
I'm
that is
going like,
so cool.
okay, I don't know much about you, but I did look into him a bit more. And believe me, after all this time, you know, working in mediumship or being involved in it, I got to understand a little bit more what he was trying to hint towards me. In another meditation, I kept getting this phrase, overcoat, overcoat. And I said, what does that mean, overcoat? So I looked into the translation of overcoat and got the understanding of that. But Gordon Higgins said to me that the discord I experienced was the group setting I was in. And I got so hurt and floored by it. I was very confused. It literally loosened up and ricocheted something inside of me that I needed to look at. And if it had to come about that way, because I talked to him, I said, that's not how I want to grow. This is not how I want to experience my own understanding of myself. And he said, but sometimes it has to get so painful to shift you into a space that allows you to be fully you and show people who you really are in a good way, not in discord or, you know, or petty stuff, because this is not who I am. But he said, this is teaching you what you needed to know. And I'm looking at him and I was crying and I was really hurt because
Wow.
I'm not confrontational. I'm just really peace loving. And I don't like that, you know. But he said, sometimes when that happens, look at the lesson, let it ricochet out of you what needed to get, you know, loosened up, so you don't have to repeat or go through a repeatance of meeting someone else that maybe faces you with the same issue, and you have to just let that come up and let it out. And ever since that time, my guides have shown me so many different aspects of living that in my lifetime, I may have never been able to learn. So it's speeding up that process for me a little bit more with a lot of guidance. So I'm going to just keep paying attention to that.
Yeah, that is so wonderful. Silke, thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Oh my gosh. Well, if anybody doesn't know who Gordon Higgins was, he was at one point the president of the Arthur Findlay College, and he was a very famous medium. He was very good in psychometry and physical mediumship, which we'll go into a little bit more later in the class, which shows, you know, physical demonstrations and so forth. But he kind of grew up in the same kind of family that I did, and his grandmother would make him like sit for hours in meditation, and he had this egg that he carried, and it was like this, you know, it was like a family thing where it was psychometry, and I mean, you talk about boot camp. I mean, he was like in it his whole life, and he was amazing in what he could do. And
do you know, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I have to say it, Gordon Higgins was also an excellent healer.
Yeah.
He could actually really pinpoint with spirit where an illness lied and what would be helpful for that person at the given time. My teacher's mentor was Gordon Higgins' teacher. And he was one of the last students of Gordon Higgins. And then my teacher now, my mentor, it was a student of that mentor and still is to a point, you know. But yeah, Gordon, and he done color therapy. where he actually done his own whole philosophy of the color energy healing and what that would mean working with the spirit world. So actually there's a fantastic course coming up now. So if anybody's ever interested, and you can purchase that book also at the Arthur Findlay College at their website in the
Yeah.
bookstore. Mhm.
Yeah. And it's so funny because I feel that I'm not really a great medium. I feel like I'm more of a healer than a great medium. And so it's really funny because and Bonnie even says that about me. She says, "Oh, you're a healer. You're a healer. You're not, you're, this mediumship is okay, but it's the healing thing that's even better." Working with Bonnie. Thank you. Yeah. And we all are. It's the exact same energy, right? I mean, it's really the same energy, spirit working through us, bringing that forth. And that's why if you can work with energy and, once you understand the flow of energy, you can scan the body and you can go, all of a sudden it's like, oh, I feel something there. I feel it, or spirit will transfer it to your body. Like all of a sudden you might feel something in your left leg down by the ankle. And it's like, okay, I have to spend time on this person's ankle over here, And so you learn to scan and you feel it. So that's why it's really important to understand your energy and the flow of energy. And because it's all the same, it's spirit. Any comments to that, Bonnie?
I just wanted to say, learning your own energy and learning what the angels feel like, because it's almost like their name, their signature, because when they walk, because I've worked with a lot of angels, and when they walk into the room or when they bring their presence in, you immediately know which one, because your heart recognizes that energy. And then your heart will eventually tell them the name. It just kind of drops into your mind. And but it's really that relationship between the guide and you that develops within you that makes it so special. And you just learn their essence, and they learn your essence, and they learn your way of the way that you teach, like the way that you speak in energy language. They learn your way and you learn their way, and eventually it just becomes this great friendship that you have that just easily
Yeah.
flows. Yeah.
It's symbiotic, and you work well together, and it's a beautiful dance. It's a beautiful dance. It really is. Yeah, it really is. Yeah, and just sharing stories. Should I share that now? No, that'll break the flow. I'm not going to share that right now. Okay. One of the things that I wanted to do today. Okay, I wanted to ask this question, you guys. What about, we talked about boundaries. We talked about setting up agreements with your guides. Did you guys think about that at all? Did you kind of drill down into that a little bit? And any thoughts around that? And you can just take your mic off and just go. I'm good with that.
Hi. So yes, I actually had them because of what I've just mentioned. To me, it was so important, but I had to set the boundaries and yada, yada, yada. And then I said to myself, boundaries. What do I really know about boundaries? Do I even know how to set healthy boundaries? And you're talking about the spirit world, right? With setting the boundaries, who comes in and that has never even really kind of been so important to me, because I always felt if I come from a loving, kind intention, that darker spirits really are not bothering me. I have never experienced it because my intentions are honest, and I come from a place with love and really just like to help. But I have noticed some, and I will share that with everybody. So when I had all this trauma going on, I decided to go back to Scott Milligan and sit in trance healing meditations. And this has been hugely helpful for me personally. They said to me that there was an issue with a person that was a paranormal investigator, and he would continuously go out and do paranormal investigations. And he would go to places that were pronounced to be infected with demons. It was with darker entities. And they said to him, if you do that, please do not come back, because you can't open yourself up to the spirit world in trance healing and then go to places where you're vulnerable, because it does open you up to the spirit world. And it makes you to a certain point vulnerable because it is just there, right? And spirits with darker energy will recognize that and have actually a chance really to attach themselves to you if you're not aware of it. And even if you are aware of it. So I went to a paranormal investigation, and it's called the Comstock Foundation Historical Society. So they raise money also for the history and buildings to restore them and keep them alive. And I was invited, and I said, oh, this would be nice. I love to do stuff in person, and I like to be around people. And I went for the fundraiser, but also to a paranormal investigation that night called the Donovan Mill. I came back home, and it didn't happen immediately. It kind of happened days later. I've really noticed something was off. And my husband even noticed that in me. I was becoming really short and started snapping really easy, and stuff was coming out of me that is not like Silke to say that, or even to react to it in the way I did. And I sat down and meditated for a while, and I have a scanner. I scanned my energy field. And I have to say to you, I had definitely brought somebody home with me. And I would just kind of wanted to say that was boundaries. I feel as a medium in a mediumship and as a medium, if we work with the other side, I feel personally, and this is, I'm speaking about me and my self-belief, there are certain activities in places that maybe not the right ideal environment to place yourself in. Be more discerned at what you do with your energy and the openness to the spirit world. And also drugs and alcohol, I would say don't do that. And with medications, if you are on heavy medications, maybe to find a way to wean yourself off so you can work with the spirit world with a clean slate, so to speak. Because when you open yourself up, you can attract energy that you maybe don't want in your space. So that's all I wanted to say was boundaries. That's my experience.
Yeah. Well, and see what happens too, as we start to work more, we can really allow, much more. But your point to that, it's like, that's what it's like. Where do you want to be? What do you want to work with? But you're right. You can be in a situation, number one, where I've seen codependent relationships with the spirit and the human being. And it was through drugs and alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And they have a codependent relationship, and trying to separate that is really tough unless and so that occurs. And then but it's like really knowing how you want to work so you feel safe. And as you get further into mediumship, your boundaries expand and grow. And that's the key, and to where you allow everything. But I can tell you, I've had 2 incidences where one was a teaching moment, and I thought, why did my guides allow it? And I know why. There was healing that needed to occur. And there was a huge lesson for me in one of the instances as well. So it's something that we probably allowed on some level where it attached, but but spirit was teaching us something. I think. I mean, that's what happened to me when this happened. And the one needed severe healing and got it, and was attached to me for a week. And but they received the healing that they needed. And I'll explain that a little bit later, but not in this one. So
Are
you
you
know,
saying that it was a codependent relationship between you and the guide?
no, this was no, the codependent. So I went to do a house clearing, for example, and there was negative energy there, and I walked in, and the husband was an alcoholic. Okay. And he had a codependent relationship with this spirit that was wreaking havoc in the house, and the wife wanted it gone. And I looked to him and I said, do you want it gone? And he said, I want it gone because she wants it gone. I said, oh no. I said, forget it. It's not going anywhere. I said, I'm wasting my time, because there was a codependent relationship between him and this entity. They were like drinking buddies. The spirit was a lower vibrational spirit that was probably an alcoholic, and they had this codependent relationship. So this guy ends up going to the hospital, and then she doesn't have anything happening. The dogs are peaceful. Everybody's fine in the house, because that spirit went with him to the hospital. And they can get so attached that if you try to remove it without that person's permission, it can actually potentially take that person's life, because they're so intertwined. Isn't that right, Bonnie? I'm pointing at you, Bonnie. She might not be there, but it's true that they can get so codependent that I even read, and how I know this is that I had also another woman that sat down that I was going to read for at one of these expos, and I immediately got dizzy. Immediately. I mean, it was such a heavy energy. I knew that, and she didn't want this guy to go. No way. And she was holding him there. They had a codependent relationship, and it's like, no, I can't help you with that. You are the determining factor on that relationship and what happens. And I mean, it was a heavy, heavy energy, and I got so dizzy. And that's what happens with these lower level spirits. I get really, really dizzy, and it's very heavy. And that's why I want you to know the flow of the energy, because with spirit, at the highest vibration is light. It feels good. It's beautiful, and it's loving, and it's kind. You get these lower vibrational beings that are confused and all that. It's totally a different vibe.
You just explained to me something I felt myself more than once. And now I know exactly what you're talking about. So thank you.
You are very welcome, Christy.
Because I'm like, whoa, the room spun on me.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is wild. What is this?
Yeah.
And I didn't even know. So, well, that answers that. Thanks.
Yeah, it's amazing. And we'll get into some other things too. I had a situation one time where I went to do a house clearing, and I'll talk about that later, but it actually was an elemental, and I really didn't even believe in elementals. And no way. And this thing, we'll talk about that later, but okay, anything else with setting boundaries? Have you given it some thought? Because really the purpose of the boundaries is so you feel good in working with spirit, and you have dominion over all of this. And, some people want to work with those negative energies. Okay, well, let them work with it. If that's where you feel you're called to and you want to do all that stuff, fine. That's not where my calling is. I don't even, but I'm not threatened by it. I don't feel fearful of it. I've even done soul rescues, which we can talk about a little bit later when we understand more about energy and so forth. But the point is that it's about you feeling comfortable of what you want to work with, and your guides will honor that and help you develop that. Okay. And those agreements with your guides is like, okay, you know, for example, one of my agreements, and we're going to get into this a little bit, and this is why it's very important to understand the flow of energy. I'm clairvoyant, but sometimes it comes in as sensing and feeling first. And so for me, before it builds out as a clairvoyant thing. And so like I could sense or feel a spirit here, but it might have like attributes that we would associate with a man, or a man come in and there's things that are associated with a female. And so how do we determine between a male and female? So I worked that out with my guides, and I understood the flow of energy. So spirit taught me. I said, I want to know the difference between a male and a female. And so what my guides taught me is they put a male on my right and a female on my left. And to this day, it's the same thing. And so because they come through and they might have like these attributes that I think are, you know, independent, strong, you know, that could be associated with a guy, but it's really a woman. And so that's boisterous and all that, and you get the sense of that. But if they're on my right side, my left side, it's a woman. And my guides taught me that. I was in a meditation one night, and this woman's father was coming through, and he was literally like breathing on my neck, and I knew it was a male. And then I thought, oh, okay, you're showing me males come on my right. Every time I raise my hand, my hand goes up. There we go. Anyway, so goofy. But so that's about, you know, so they're going to teach you, but then that became one of my agreements. I want women on my left and men on my right. So then when I feel the energy shift on my left-hand side, I know I have a woman here. If it shifts on my right side, I know I have a man here. So that's just me. And that's why if you're a sensor and a feeler, understanding the flow of energy is going to be so important. Okay. Versus a clairvoyant where it comes out and you can see it. Make sense? Okay. All right. So keep working on setting up the agreements as your guides. And, you know, this is kind of fluid. As you get more into this, you might find another one that you need to establish. Okay. So just know that it's a fluid thing. You know, like I said, I don't want to be bothered between 10 at night and 6 in the morning because I don't want to be in fear. You know, they're coming in, you know, can you help me? And it's like, no, I'm sleeping, leave me alone, you know, and stuff like that. And we talked about, you know, opening yourself up for spirit, like Lisa Williams takes off her ring to let know. Now that's different than your guides. Your guides should be something that's very fluid and nice, and it's all part of you. They know your energy signature and all that. So it's an easier flow of things. You know, you can talk to your guides all the time, like, where are my car keys? I got to find my car keys. Help me, you know, and then give them thanks, you know, when you find them or whatever. Just stuff like that, that can be helpful, you know, or you might be utilizing them in the grocery store to find something in the grocery store, you know. It's okay to do that because they're part of your team and it's symbiotic and it's something that's wonderful. I'm talking about opening yourself up for spirit communication to, you know, that way is where you want to set your boundaries. Karen, Michelle, did you have a question?
I had said that I don't want to be, I don't want to be interrupted overnight because
Yeah.
I started having trouble sleep. I used to not. I used to just hit the pillow and there it was. So
Yeah.
for the last year, I've been having trouble sleep. And this week I noticed that I have horrible headaches. I've been having headaches for a very long time. But this week, I haven't been waking up with them. But then it also makes me wonder, am I missing something? As in, am I getting messages that I'm supposed to be getting and I'm missing them? Am I misinterpreting something? But it's nice not to wake
Spirit
up
will
with a headache.
always, yeah. Spirit will always get through a message. Don't worry. They'll get it to you. You know, you need sleep. You gotta renew. It's okay. That's part of the human condition. So you can't keep yourself up all night. I mean, you know, if you feel that way, then say, okay, you know, I'm gonna go to bed an hour early, and within that hour, if there's a message that I need to hear, please give it to me then. And be open and receptive, and then, you know, and then that's it. You know? Or I'm gonna be in meditation at 6 a.m., talk to me then. You know? So. Okay, guys, so what I thought we would do, that's a great segue. Does anybody else have any questions about that? Okay. Do we need a break really quick? I didn't take a break last time. Do you guys need to take like 2 or 3 minutes and then we get started again? Okay, how about if we get how about 5 minutes? Does that work, everybody? Or if you need less and everybody's back, we'll do that. Okay, great. Thanks, guys.
Me,
Mine does that. It's just like,
I don't know, it doesn't do anything for me. It seems
So
to be
you
Okay.
missing.
said what now, Joe? You said to slide it to the left?
yeah, my phone has 3 different settings. One is to see the whole gallery, one is to see just the person speaking, and then the other.
The other one's to mute, I guess.
Yeah, well, when I do that, it just goes, I see what you're saying. It's got 3 different screens.
Mhm.
But for some reason, it's just not letting me do anything other than hit this button, say, hello. I don't know. We won't worry about it.
Okay. Maybe next time we'll figure it out.
Yeah,
okay.
because I can't use the emojis or like put my hand raised or anything like that.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Sounds good. Well, you know, we didn't really do a centering meditation. Let's do that now, because what I want to do in the workbook, there's a test on page 36, and it's to find your dominant clair. And so, like Silka, you might this might not apply, you know, some of you it might not apply to, because you might be working mediums already, and it builds itself out, right? And so to do this test, it might show that you have all the clairs or whatever. So, and that's an okay thing, but there are people that maybe are just starting, and this has nothing to do with it. It's more about it's just the quickest answer that that you want to grab onto when I read, and I'm going to read this. I'm going to read this for a reason, because some of you might be more clear, more based on like a clear audience or something. This is going to be like clear audience, clairvoyance, clairsentience, like a clear knowing, clear cognizance, and all that. And so what I want you to do is I'm going to read these questions. Well, first of all, we'll do a centering thing just to get centered and kind of get in tune with ourselves and with our guides. And then when I read these, it's a multiple choice. It's A, B, and C. And so what I'd like you to do is just the first answer that you feel drawn to, write it down like A, B, C. Okay. And then, so this is to find your dominant clair. But I've tested some people who have been doing mediumship and they had like 2 of the 3 or something like that. So don't be surprised. Okay. All right. So really quickly, let's just get centered a little bit. Let's take a few deep breaths and exhale. Inhale up and exhale. And then imagine your feet really being grounded into the Mother Earth. You can even send a beam of light to the crystal core and bring another beam up to yourself so you're fully grounded to Mother Earth. And then keep inhaling and exhaling. Just relax and allow your body to just relax. And start to move up the body with your energy and see if there's any tightness or tension anywhere. Go all the way through each of the energy centers, up through the heart. Keep breathing, inhaling and exhaling. On the exhale, release everything that no longer serves you. And this time, go up to the throat energy center or chakra. Release all tightness and tension. Go up to the third eye and release all tension in your face. Furrowed brow, let that go. Then go up to the crown. Inhale up and exhale. Now this time go all the way up through the crown chakra and connect to spirit. And then drop that down into your heart. And visualize the essence of your spirit in your heart, behind the heartbeat. And send it out into the room with love and gratitude. Father, Mother God, we just come before you and give you thanks for all the wonderful blessings that we've received, both seen and unseen. We are so grateful. We ask and invite our guides in, our master teachers and guides, to help us with this exercise to determine what our dominant clair is, so we can start to really build and blend with spirit, so we understand where we can have success right away, and allow us and teach us in the best way that you know how, for our highest and best. And with that, I
Really,
say,
I hate cutting your pizza because it's so hard. It's like,
okay. And then okay, so you guys, if you have just a pen and a paper, I didn't know if I told you this, but we're just going to go through this really quick, and I'm going to read these to you and write down A, B, or C. Okay. And this is not anything that is technical in nature. It's more about sensing, feeling, seeing, smelling, all of that when I read the question. Okay. When you recall a wonderful vacation, do you recall A, the views and the way the place looked, B, the sounds of the vacation, or C, the feelings associated with that vacation? Write down A, B, or C. Don't give it a lot of thought. What first comes to mind? A, the views and the way the place looked, B, the sounds of the vacation, or C, the feelings associated with the vacation. Number two, when you're given a task or a job to do, is it easier to carry it out if A, I see what is required and I have a visual plan, B, if it's clearly explained to me and I understand it, C, I have the feeling of what's required and the sense of purpose about it? Okay, number three, when faced with a decision, it helps me to A, visualize the situation and choices in my mind's eye, B, talk through the situation with friends or colleagues as dialogue in my mind, or C, sense how I feel about the choices and trust my intuition and gut feelings. Did you guys get that, or do you need me to read it again? You got it? Okay. 4, during a discussion, I'm most often influenced by A, the other person's body language and how I see their perfect point of view, B, the other person's tone of voice and how I hear what they are saying, C, the other person's body language and how I feel about their point of view. Number 5.
Can you read that one more time?
Yeah. Number 4, during a discussion, I'm most often influenced by the other person's body language and how I see their perfect point of view. B, the other person's tone of voice and how I hear what they are saying. Or C, the other person's body language and how I feel about their point of view. Don't overthink it. Number 5, which activities do you prefer? A, watching films, visual arts, and reading. B, music, concerts, and good conversation. Or C, physical activities, massage, craft work, or reflection, or sports. Number 6, when I buy an article of clothing, the most important thing is A, the color or design and how I look wearing it. B, the logic behind my decision to buy it. Or C, the feel of the fabric and how it feels when I'm wearing it. That's a hard one, women, I think. Okay, number 7. When I think about a person, the very first thing I do is see them in my mind's eye, hear their voice in my mind, or C, recall my feelings of them. I can read that again. When I think about a special person, A, do I see them in my mind's eye? B, hear their voice in my mind, or C, recall my feelings for them? A, when I use mathematics, I verify the answer by looking at the numbers to see if they look correct. B, count the numbers in my head or talk out the answer out loud. Or C, use your fingers and your gut feelings and sense that it is correct. 9, my favorite subjects in school are based on A, the images associated with them, B, the sounds and words associated with them, or C, the feelings associated with them. 10, at the beach, the very first thing that makes me glad to be there is A, the view of the sea, the sand, and the sun. B, the sound of the waves, the wind, and seagulls. Or C, the feeling of the sand, the sea, and the salt air. How are you guys doing with this? Okay? So far? Okay. 11, before going to sleep at night, it is important that A, the room is nearly dark or pleasantly shaded. B, the room is peaceful and quiet. Or C, the room and bed feel right and are comfortable. Number 12, in the morning, I especially enjoy awakening to A, the sight of the sun streaming into the room. B, the sound of the birds singing. Or C, the feeling of a warm, comfortable bed. "13, having a rapport with someone is A, seeing things from a similar point of view. B, hearing them communicate in a way that resonates with me. C, feeling good about them and feeling that they are similar to me. "14, when listening to a talk, I'm most interested by A, the body language of the presenter and the visual aids used. B, the tone of the voice of the tone of voice of the presenter and how they speak. Or C, how the presenter makes me feel, the vibes I feel, and whether I connect with them. "15, when buying a car, I make my decision based on A, the color, styling, and how I look in it. B, the sound of the engine, stereo, and how quiet it is inside. C, how comfortable it is and how I feel when I drive it." "16, I communicate what is going on with me mostly by A, where I look and in my body language, the floor off to the side or in someone's eyes. B, the tone of my voice and the words that are used. C, the emotions and the feelings I share."
Can you read that again?
Yep. 16, I communicate what is going on with me by mostly A, where I look, and in my body language, if I look at the floor, off to the side, or in someone's eyes. B, the tone of my voice and the words that are used. Or C, the emotions and the feelings I share. (17) If I was going to give you a new piece of electronic equipment, would you A, look at the diagrams and see how it works? B, read the manual and instructions to see how it works? Or C, just start using it and understand how it works as you go? (18) When learning a new skill, which do you prefer? A, someone to show me how to do it. B, someone explaining to me how to do it. Or C, learning by physically doing it. (19) Which is more appealing to you? Beautiful images, views, or art? B, beautiful sounds of music or voices? Or C, beautiful feelings and sensations? And 20? Who is the most important to you when having people come to your home? Okay, wait, that's not right. Sorry, let me read that. I want to say, what is important to you when having people come to your home? What is important to you? A, that it looks right and is appealing. B, it sounds right with the right background sounds. Or C, it feels right and has a pleasant atmosphere. Okay. So there you have it, guys. So what I would like you to do is add up A's, add up the B's, and add up the C's that you have. Yeah, Karen, Michelle.
I can try to eliminate them, but I had a lot of kind of multiple or doubles, and it's throwing me off.
Okay, don't worry about that. That's a good thing.
Just add them up.
Yep, just add them up. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yep. How are you guys doing with it? Okay. Huh. I'm missing a page here. I gotta make sure that I have the right one loaded. There we go. Okay. Okay. All right, you guys have it loaded, or do you guys have it all added up? Okay. So I kind of want to share this here really quick. Oh, here. Okay. Is this the one? No, shoot. Where did that one go? I had it up just a minute ago. Sorry, guys. Oh, is it in preview? Yeah, here it is. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, let me share my screen really quick. Sorry about that. Can you guys see this? So this is really, so the results of this test. If you have mostly A's, your dominant clair is clairvoyance. If you have mostly B's, it's clairaudience. And then it's clairsentience, or this, it's really this box, like it's you know, for the clear, it's like a clear knowing, clear, you know, clear feeling. So it's more clairsentience, okay? So did any of you, I'm going to stop sharing. So how many people had A's, mostly A's? So Diane, you had A's, Kathy, you had A's, okay. Okay, and then who had B's? Okay, Joe. Anybody else? And then C's. Who had C's? Okay. All right, so you guys, that's really good. The reason yeah.
I had like 12 A's and 9 C's.
Okay, that's good. So that means you're working with both clairs, or you have a possibility. And see, what happens is that when you first start out, you're like, you might be one dominant over the other. And then as you start to build out, you'll have more than one, you know what I'm saying? And so, like I have sensing and feeling, and then I have also clairvoyant. So And then the others tend to build themselves out, if that makes sense. Okay. As you start to work with spirit. But the reason I do this is because I want to know that you guys, how to best work with you specifically so you can have success. You see what I'm saying? Like Soka, I would expect that you're a sensor and feeler, but you might, these other things might start to build out a little bit for you, you know?
What I wanted to say real quick, and what I've noticed over the time was I always labeled myself as clairvoyant because I would get these images. But
Yeah.
then over time, I've noticed that also my other clairs, like the clairaudience and clairvoyance and clairsentience, I've realized that all of a sudden it's just with time, it's a multifaceted experience
Exactly.
because they all blend into one.
They
And
do.
my stronger dominance clair now, what I've noticed is just a claircognizance. I just know what I
Oh.
know and I just know it. So that kind of seems to be the thing. But yeah, I find it is a multifaceted experience and they all seem to kind of blend in.
Yes, exactly. And that's what happens when you get into more of your mediumship, is that you hear things, you know things, you just know it, you see it. And it's just, but when you first start, you kind of might only, like when I first started, I would get these images and it was very, blatant. It's like, that's what I was. But then when it came to male and female, because I didn't have a true confidence in that, even though I was seeing, sometimes I wouldn't get the image, so I'd have to sense and feel it through. And so my guides helped me figure that out until I actually saw them, because the feeling I could get faster than sometimes, them flashing me the information. I don't know, it was just, kind of like that. And I think that came from the fact that I wasn't confident yet, and so that's kind of what happened. But Kathy, you had a question?
No, I don't have a question. I had the same thing, 8 A's and then 7 C's. And then I put down my second choice on them and a lot of B's came up.
Okay.
So it looks like all of them were kind of blending for me.
They were blending. Okay, yeah, it is a multifaceted experience. You're right, Sophie. And so that doesn't surprise me that happens. And one of the things that I do very easily is I believe that our voice is our soul signature. And so I can immediately connect with the vibration of someone's voice. That comes in very easily. That's why I don't have a problem doing phone reads, because I can hear the vibration of their voice and I immediately connect. I think that that's their soul signature, and that stays with you. So, okay, good. And then Anita, you had a question?
Yeah, I do. So about a year ago is when I would go into meditations, actually probably 4 years ago is when I started doing transcendental meditation and I would see colors.
Yeah.
But I started doing guided meditations about a year ago, like spiritual guided meditations. And that's when I started getting symbols. And so I've only been focused on developing that because I just am like, oh, I'm clairvoyant. Like I even have I've been keeping a journal and I draw what I see. And then I look it up, the meanings and the interpretations, like every time I get all these things. But I just did this and I am more than double on clairsentient, claircognizant. And so I haven't been developing that at all. So my question is how? Because clearly I'm ignoring what's the most strongest according to this quiz.
Well, so that's really interesting that came up, clear knowing, and that really doesn't surprise me either. I mean, so the symbols and the symbols that you're getting, which we're going to be talking about next week and developing them, the symbols, what they mean, right? And so that's kind of like what the third one is. Just explain.
Well, I mean, a lot of them I know because I'm a literature teacher and I teach symbolism and metaphor and all of that, but
Yeah.
some of them I look up. I use Dream Moods Dictionary. I don't know if you're familiar with that website. For
Yeah.
like the more obscure ones, like I had a dream about a junkyard last night, and this morning I woke up. I don't know what a junkyard symbolizes, so I had to look that up. I mean, I have an idea. I can kind of interpret it, but I wanted more information. But then how would I go about like strengthening or working with being clairsentient? Because just to give you a quick bit of context, I was completely disconnected from my body. When my son died, I didn't feel much. Like I felt it, but it was like I thought more than I felt it, to be honest. I didn't cry much that first year because I had been disconnected from my body for years. And so the second year of my grief over his death was when I really started feeling it. Like it hit me like a ton of bricks because I had already started working on with my therapist the first year. I'm like, why am I not feeling the grief? Why am I not crying? Like, this was my son, this is my heart. You know, what's wrong with me? Am I defective? And what I had to do first was like, let go of the limiting belief that feeling more than thinking didn't mean that I was going to lower my IQ. You know, because that's what we're taught in Western culture is like intellectualism. It has to be valued far and above, you know, feeling into our bodies. So once I let go of that and I started reconnecting with my body, I was finally able to start feeling things. And now I'm doing well with it, but I still feel like it's come back online recently, you know, just the past few years. So I'm not sure how to go about working with it.
Yeah, okay. And so that's really a great question. And I'm so proud of you for doing symbols because we're going to be working on that next week. I'm sitting here looking for my symbol journal and it was right here somewhere. And I'm sorry, that's what I've been looking for. But the bottom line is that you've been out of the body, hanging out in your aura, right? And so you want to fully come into your body, number one. And I feel like you're doing that. You're grounding very well into your body. You're coming back into your body. And as far as you developing all of this will come over time. You're doing a magnificent job of the symbols, but this is where the flow of energy really is going to help you, utilizing your body as a barometer, ever so subtle, by you by like taking a walk and noticing that the temperature is changing ever so subtly. Or you walk in and the energy in the home changes from this to that, walking into certain areas. Or when you get around this person, something happens. All of that, take note of and write it down so it's clear in your mind. It's the subtle changes that are really important. When I sit and do a reading, for example, all of a sudden I might have a tap on my left ring finger, and it's like, oh, there's something with regard to a ring and the spirit, and then show me what that is. And so, you know, so it's ever so subtle. You know, all of a sudden I might feel like Joe was talking, all of a sudden his shoulder hurt. Well, spirit does that to me all of a sudden. Like when your son came through, I mean, he came through so blatantly. It was like there was no way I could have missed that. You know what I'm saying? Because my head just went, you know, like, oh my God, you know. And so my point is that when you start to work with energy and the flow, Bonnie taught me to use my body as a barometer. So all of a sudden you might feel lighter on this side or heavier on that side or whatever. Take note of that, because no matter how subtle it is, it's very important, because we're going to train our mind to sense and feel all of that. That's really, really important. Okay. Especially when you're doing readings, because you have these wonderful spirits that come in, and the problem is that their vibration might not be very high or something like that. And, you know, our guides are helping them, trying to get the information through because they know how we work. But all of a sudden you might feel a tap on your shoulder, and that tap on the shoulder I just felt 2 taps on my shoulder. Somebody will say, well, so-and-so used to do that all the time when they came over. They'd come over and give me 2 taps just like that. You just don't know how important that is. So we have to understand the flow of energy and all the subtleties that go with it. It's not just seeing, because all of a sudden, you know, I might have a feeling on my ring finger, but I don't see that ring. All of a sudden I have a tap and it's like, okay, show me the ring now. Show it to me. Have this. And what will happen, what I'm doing is I'm delivering evidence and the messages, and I'm having a conversation with the spirit. And this is going on simultaneously.
Mhm.
Okay. And then so I can deliver it. And so that's why it's really important. So the symbols, yes, are very important. They use all of that. But this is the thing about symbols. It's about how you feel about it, what you're getting with it. These are your symbols, okay? Specifically for you when you read.
Well, I've noticed that they tell a story. You know, it's not just one that means this and they're not connected. Like there's always like, I look at everything like a story arc, a hero's journey. You know, no
Yeah.
matter what the situation is, like there's always
So what they're doing is they're building the framework out for you to deliver a message. You're allowing it to build itself out so you can deliver it.
Mhm.
Okay. And whether these things are important as evidence or part of the message,
Mhm.
there's 2 components of a reading. You have the evidence and then you have the message. So when you build that out, you know, how is that building out with those symbols?
Mm, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do they mean to you? And to get really good, my aunt would say, just don't say you're seeing a big type of fluffy flower. Know that that's a hydrangea, or know that, you know, specifically know these. And I said, I asked my aunt, how do I get names? She says, you go study a book of names and those names will start coming to you.
Mm.
So in other words, you know, if I'm sitting there and I'm saying, oh, your aunt just loved these, you know, this flower, I can't place it, but they were red and they were, you know, and it's like, oh, those are begonias or something, you know, and saying that, that's much more meaningful than saying, you know, and I know this is an annual, you know, or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah,
you know,
right.
and so it's about learning that. And you know, I get names every once in a while. I don't see them, I hear them.
Mhm.
All of a sudden I'll hear Jack, or, you know, whatever.
Mhm.
So yeah, symbols are very important because see, that's the way spirit communicates to us. And that's how they communicate with us in dreams too. So it's not just about the interpretation. The dream book is really good, but it's also, you have to attach it to how you felt about it in that moment when you received it.
So that's how it's saying the clairsentient piece.
Mhm.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, Karen Michelle.
Hi, I got, I felt like I was all over the map and I got 11 A's, 10 B's, 16 C's. I didn't get 20 of anything.
That doesn't surprise me. That in fact, I would say that doesn't surprise me at all. In fact, I thought you would have multiple ones, that you wouldn't have a dominant, because when you became awakened, your senses, you seeing, you feeling, you know, you hearing, that doesn't surprise me at all. You just went and everything is open.
Are you supposed to have 20 of what? I mean,
No.
Oh.
I do that, and the reason I do that is because, okay, so for example, like Kathy and Diane, for example, they had clairvoyant. So when we go into group and we start to give messages, I know that Kathy and Diane are clear seers, so they're going to see certain things, and I'm going to work with that dominant clair as things come up, and I'm going to help them interpret what they're receiving from spirit. Okay. But you're going to get a lot more than that because you're totally open. So you might, you might be hearing things, sensing things, blah, 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 and we have to work with that and to put the message together or to put the evidence together. But you might be getting all of this. And so it means that those things have been built out for you. Where with Kathy and Diane, for example, because they're clear seeing, I want to work with that dominant clair with them, or Joe, he's more of a hearing. I want you guys to have success and understand it, and you can understand it from your dominant clair. If I'm working with you with that dominant clair, just because I might be clairvoyant or clairsentient or whatever, doesn't mean I don't want to teach you things that is not going to appeal to someone's dominant clair. I want them to have success. Now, over time, just like what Silka said, they build out over time. Because you've had an NDE, you're like wide open. So you're experiencing, you're feeling, you're seeing, you're this, and it's like you have all this stuff coming at you all at once. And so that's different. And then, so what we have to do is take all that evidence and build that out into a story and deliver the evidence, and then also the message behind it. You see? So it's not that you did anything wrong. It's the fact that you're like a medium, everything is blown wide open for you. So, I don't want to there are teachers out there that just teach their way, but you miss a whole bunch of people if you're clairvoyant and you got a bunch of clairsentient people sitting over here. How is that going to benefit? They're going to say, oh, I'm unsuccessful. And what I'm saying is, I want to find out what your dominant gift is and work with that while the others are building out, because I want you to have success. And I want you to understand your gift to start out with. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I think the dominant is C. I had 16 of C's, so that was
okay. Yeah, so you know. Cool as that.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's good. Okay. Any other comments from everybody? Oh, we're at time. Okay, so hang on, let me I'm going to stop the recording just for a second. Wait, I want to pause it, cancel, because I just want to. Okay, guys, so what Anita was showing is her journal symbols or symbol journal. You know what? I turned the preview off on the workbook, and I guess you can't look at it. So I'm going to turn that back on. I'm confused about Podia, so I'm going to turn all that back on so you get it. But this is a journal that I put together with all my symbols, okay? And what I did was, and I meditated on each of these. So this is on relationships, like grandmother, grandfather, dad, mom, mother-in-law, uncle, aunt, sister, brother, great grandma, friend, female, friend, twins, all of that. And what I did was I meditated and came up with symbols. Okay, so if I see these things, then I know what it is. Okay. Then I did it on timing of the year. And now you can either do like month 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or what I did is I do it in quarters. So like spring, summer, fall, winter. And so my symbol for spring is tulips. My for beach, for summer, it's beach and sun. For fall, it's autumn leaves. For winter, it's snow and snow. Okay, and so I just break them down in 4s versus the month. If you want to get more specific, you can do that. But then life situations such as weddings, anniversaries, job, like a minister that's coming through, a nurse, teacher, and then you can build it out like you can have animals or things that represent certain things, like, okay, like I put a sunflower, that's someone with pure thoughts, okay, for me. And then when that Indian guy comes in, I know surgery is going to go really well when he comes into a reading and somebody has a health issue and they're worried about it. All of a sudden I see his face, I know everything's going to be fine. A newborn baby, or a birthday can be a birthday cake, so think of these things. An elephant might be someone that's thick-skinned, or has a memory like an elephant, something like that. So these are associations that you associate with something. So when your guides start to know these things, they use them in a reading. So all of a sudden you see a elephant, you see, you have a symbol of your grandfather, and you have this, like I use suspenders. So when I see a guy standing there in suspenders, I know it's a grandfather. And then all of a sudden, I see an elephant, I know that he's thick-skinned, or I might see Abe Lincoln, where he's an honest guy, or he has a memory like an elephant, that type of thing. So you want to start to associate these things. So as they build out, because what you're going to do is that spirit gives these symbolically, but it also can be literal. Okay. So in other words, like, for example, I might have a grandmother here and she's showing me a teddy bear. And it's like, well, she never gave me a teddy bear. Okay, so then I have to redeliver it because I gave it literal, and now I have to go back and think about my symbols. What does a teddy bear represent to me? And then redeliver it. So just because we get a no, we don't want to lose our vibration. We just need to redeliver it. We deliver it literally, and then we deliver it then symbolically. What does the symbol mean to me? And so your guides know your symbols. That's why the information comes down and it's encoded, and then you have to decode it based on what spirit's giving you. Now, you might already just automatically see it. That's wonderful. But there's also symbols here that they can show us. Okay. Yeah, Diane. Oh, you're on mute.
Okay. Quick question.
Yeah.
So I started with developing symbols before. Can I use that same list, or do I need to start all over again?
Use the same list. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
And then the other thing that I want to show you, I gotta undo the I'll just show you here. I don't know why the preview isn't available. I gotta fix that, you guys. But what I wanted to show you is in here, in this book, on page, this is the workbook. Okay, on page 41, you don't have to download the book, but what you can do is that there's a place for what are your symbols. So you can have your symbol, the meaning, and what you're seeing, sensing, feeling, hearing. So like, in other words, like you might associate lace with a wedding, or you might associate a wedding cake with a wedding. So, a marriage is coming up. So all of a sudden they show you a wedding cake, or this has to do with a wedding. And you can deliver that. Now, depending on what else is around that, it could be a wedding coming up in the springtime, or it can be you saw them last at the wedding. So it starts to build itself out. But once you start to build out your symbols, it'll come clearer, okay? Now, there's also a place on page 43 where you can do colors like white, orange, red, yellow, green, pink. Like green, for me, green is a healing color, but I also associate it with a teacher, for example. And pink to me is unconditional love. So it's about associating meanings to these things. Like gold might be someone with a lot of money. I don't know. However you want to put it together, you're working with your guide. So as you're doing this, they're noting this, okay? They know this, and this is the way that you are going to work. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. Okay, and then so start working with that, and then we'll start doing the structure of a reading. But the other thing too is that I'll tell you what, I'm going to send an email out because there's a couple things that I think that you guys should do. One is relationship symbols. Like I was doing a reading one time, I got to tell you guys this. And all of a sudden I saw Margaret, who's in spirit, who came in as and I thought, what the heck is Margaret doing in this reading? But what they were teaching me is Margaret to me is a mother-in-law. And everybody associated her with a mother-in-law. I thought, what the heck is she? But they used it as an association. This was a mother-in-law coming through. So they taught me a symbol. Okay. So you want to try to think about relationships, including twins. You know, like I did double mint gum for twins. Also an ex-husband or an ex-wife, because they'll come in spirit too.
Can I ask you a quick question, Rachelle?
Yeah.
The way that we develop our own meanings for these symbols, like that we develop with our spirit guides, so we know what they're sending us, then we just go into a meditation and just ask them, like, send me a symbol that means mother, send me a symbol that means father.
You can, or
are
you
we
can
getting
determine.
symbols? And
Yeah,
then
or you can determine it. You can say,
Yeah.
I want to use a wedding cake to represent a wedding. So what I can do is I'd be happy to type these up, you guys, and send them to you. So what I have are the relationship symbols, but Margaret's not going to mean anything to you. You know what I'm saying? That's a mother-in-law, right? So timing, okay, timing, think about that, spring, summer, winter, fall, or if you want to do the months. Life situations, wedding, anniversary, 25th, 50th, job, you know, teacher, nurse, you know, baby, mourning, an accountant, you know, peonies, you know, what are peonies? You know, to me, they're family close to each other. When I see a peony, you know, I love peonies. I don't know. And then looking for a new job. Now that can come in psychically too. And you could, we'll get into that, but retiring, you know, grief, you know, different characteristics of a communicator. So characteristics, thinking about, like I associated, now what I do, I don't use these symbols anymore, but like I'm more of a knowing when this person comes in, right? I'm more like, I can feel that they're joyous, or I can feel that they're, you know, that they're boisterous, or that they were really loud, or, you know, based on the way that they come in. But you know, you can use characteristics of the communicator by using symbols. Like lion, this would be something that would be very courageous, or he has high, or he has dignity, like Abe Lincoln, he's honest and authentic, or I see a coin, it might mean he's good with money. This person is good with money, things like that. So that can help you. So again, going back really quick, relationships, timing, life situations, and characteristics of a communicator. And those are usually done with animal. Well, it can be done anyway. I mean, it can be done a lot of ways. Either, Abe Lincoln, or a dog could be that, he was a wonderful companion, that type of thing. Or a dog could be a dog, I'm seeing a dog. Does this mean, no, I don't know. Okay, this person was a good companion, that type of thing. Is this making sense? Okay. All right, so if you get the journal, and then also, what you can do, really start to pay attention to like your dreams, and really take notice of things and try to interpret it symbolically and figure it out, because the way that spirit speaks to us, even in our life situations, for example, and Sean knows this, that I'm learning discernment. Spirit is teaching me discernment. And I've had some life situations recently where I'm learning that. And it's been a wonderful journey. But just pay attention. What things are important to you that would mean something in a reading? Okay. Makes sense? This will all come together. But again, this is called the mechanics of mediumship. So I'm appealing and giving you all I got. And, it will build out. And some of these symbols will drop off, because what will happen is you might be clairvoyant and seeing these things, and then all of a sudden you'll have a knowing about this person, so you don't need your symbols anymore. It's going to be an evolutionary process, okay? I'm not saying that this is in stone, right? It's not. As it evolves, you'll know. Yes, Diane.
One more question about the symbols. Do you have a special place, or is it in the book where we can look them up? Or do we just go online and figure out, is there a special site or someplace? I know I may have that, but I
just posted a link to one that I use. It's called Dream Moods Dictionary, and it's just alphabetical. Like I mentioned, I saw a junkyard in my dream last night, so I just went to J, and there are various pages for J, and you just pick the one where junkyard falls, alphabetically. And
what's
then
it called again?
I put the link in the chat. It's dreammoods.com. It's a dictionary, and if you go to on the site, if you go under Dream Dictionary and look at dream themes, there's pages with like all about animals. Like if you want to just look up all different animals, all different colors, those are all separate on their own page. Tons of themes.
Yeah, and that's really great. And remember, these have got to mean, that you can use it as a guide, right? But it's like, also, what does it mean to you? Are you going to feel like, you might not feel comfortable with my symbol for a wedding, for example,
Yeah.
like one person's might be lace and the other person might be a wedding cake, and so it's really individual. Yeah, Karen Michelle. You probably don't need symbols, by the way.
No, it's funny because when when I first started doing therapy, I used Jungian's archetypes,
Oh,
and I love the dream work. But then for myself, I have my own framework for analyzing my dream, not analyzing my dreams, but I already know what comes up for me with my
yeah, that's
dreams.
perfect.
And
See,
I don't like writing because then I won't go back to sleep. So I did the little recorder, and it is old, but it works. It's that little thing just keeps on going. So I just push the button and I talk out the dream and I go back to sleep. And now I sleep through the night, but I can pull up more than one dream in the morning. And if I want, I will talk it through. If I want to write it out, I will, but I can pull out the symbols and then, okay, this is how it is for me. And that's
yeah,
just
that's
how I do it.
perfect. Yeah, this is not, it's what works for you, because it's not taking, this is your mediumship, right? And so we want to develop you and what you feel comfortable with, because mediumship is such a discipline anyway, that we want to make sure, or I want to make sure, that you are the most comfortable and you have the right tools for you, because you're holding that connection with spirit and you want to be comfortable with that, so you don't get flustered or whatever, and you're doing it my way versus what the way is comfortable for you. Makes sense? So yeah, and if you have that worked out, that's fine, and when we start to give messages and we start to bring spirit through, I bet that all this will just flow, because you have been in the flow. You've probably been more in the spirit world than you have in this illusionary real world. And so you're very comfortable with that. And that's what happens over time. I mean, I can speak for Bonnie. I mean, her and I spent so much time in the spirit world, and everybody thought we were nuts, because of if they ever heard our conversations, they probably thought we were just like totally loony. And but and we immediately will talk about, like, oh, what did spirit give you last night? We get so excited, and it's like, it's kind of like that. And what's coming? What do you see? And it's like kind of like that, and we get so excited. But that's what happens. And because remember, we've been socialized, right? We've been socialized this one way, and that it's covering the essence of your spirit. So we're pulling all that logical crap off, and we're opening ourselves up to this limitlessness and to the spirit world that is expansive. And how do we get that information when it's so subtle, and we grab onto it, and it's so meaningful to the person that we're delivering it to? And we have to do it our way. Not my way, not Gordon Higgins' way. We're doing it, your way, because you are unique and you are special in the way that you show up in this world. And spirit knows how you're showing up, and they're going to work with you to bring all this forward for either yourself or to be of service. Make sense? All right. Well, we went over today. It was great to see everybody. So next week, what are we doing next week? I think we're going to be doing, we're going to talk about the structure of a reading. Okay. And then we might start to play a little bit and give some readings and so forth, and connect with spirit and build the energy of the group. So let's do that. Let's start to do that and see what comes through. And there's difference between psychic and mediumship, and I'm okay, like, if we do a little bit of psychicness, and if you guys use a focal point like cards or something like that, or something that you're used to, I'm okay with that too. So I really want to spend time in mediumship, but psychicness, the psychic readings also help build the symbols and so forth. Okay. You guys feeling it? Are you excited? Okay, I'm
Yeah.
excited. It's so good to see you guys. Any parting comments, everybody?
Thank you for today. That was very informative. Thank you.
So good. Thank you. God bless you. I'm so grateful that you're in the class and everything. Thank you. I'm hoping that I'm helping in some way. Okay, good. And then Karen Michelle.
Thank you so much. And then
Yeah.
I wanted to make a comment, and I don't know why this is, but whenever Silka talks, both of my cats talk. And I noticed that last week and this week, every time, and it's so cute. I make sure everything's muted, but it's very funny because it's both of them. And
That's
I'm an
cool.
animal
That's so
lover. I
cute.
have dogs, I have chickens, we had cats, so yeah, and birds.
That's so cool. I love it. See,
Oh,
the
thank you.
vibration of our voice is our social signature. So it's very unique. And yeah. So any parting comments from anyone else? I hope this has been informative.
I just want to say thank you, and I am feeling so much better that I see everybody at a totally different level. So I don't feel so
Yeah,
left
right?
out. And so thank you. I see
Yeah.
myself in all of you too.
Yeah.
That's so great. Thank you.
Thank
Jen.
you.
So
feminine
glad
side.
you're here. That's so wonderful.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you,
All right,
Rochelle.
Thank
guys.
you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Bonnie, do
Rochelle.
you have something to say, Bonnie?
I just wanted to say thank you, and it was a wonderful class. Love you guys.
Love you
See you
too.
next
You
time.
too.
Okay, see ya.
Oh.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.